Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new, then hi, welcome to my channel. As you can tell by the title of today's video, we have another what I've watched in the month of November. I cannot believe it's December already. The year has just whizzed past. I don't know where it's gone, but it's gone. But anyway, I have watched quite a few movies and TV shows in the month of November because it seems like you guys really enjoy these videos. It gives you something new to watch if you haven't watched it, give you something to add to your list. And if something's not that great, I tell you, don't bother with it. So in the month of November, I very much did a 50-50 split of films and TV, which is very rare for me. I'm very much a TV person, but every bit of TV I watched only had like one season in it, I'm pretty sure. But I can't really find anything at the moment because obviously what's happening in the world, a lot of things have paused in production and paused in general, so it's been a little bit more difficult to find new films and new TV shows to watch because obviously nothing's coming out. But there's always something to find to watch, so that is what I did. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is TV. I always start with TV and then move on to film. So the first TV show I'm going to talk about in this video is the TV show I loved the most during the month of November, and that is the TV show that is behind me, The Queen's Gambit. When I explain this to you, this is going to sound like the most boring TV show ever, and I promise you, if you haven't given it a go, please do, because it's not as boring as I'm about to make it out to be. This is a TV show about chess, and I don't know how else to explain that. So in The Queen's Gambit, we are following this young girl, Beth Harmon, who is in an orphanage, and she becomes really close with the janitor of the place, where he plays chess and teaches her how to play. We watch her through the years, getting older, getting much better at chess. She enters tournaments, she does eventually get adopted, and the mum helps her get into tournaments and she wins lots of money from it. I'm not going to say any more than that just because I don't want to spoil it, obviously. Even if you don't understand how chess works, you can 100% still understand what is going on. I was a bit worried that I wasn't really going to understand it. I know the basis of chess, but that's as far as it goes. There is a lot of new people playing chess because of this TV show, which is kind of amazing, so give that a go. The next thing I watched is Julie and the Phantoms. Now, this was just something that you guys recommended for me to watch, so I went in blind, completely blind, had no idea what it was. It was interesting. I know a lot of people absolutely adore this, and trust me, if I was 16 years old, this would have been my #1 TV show like ever. I would have absolutely adored it. At the age of 22, almost 23 though, it was a little bit more on the teenage side for me. I did enjoy it, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad show. So Julie and the Phantoms is about this girl called Julie, obviously, and she is a singer, she's a songwriter, she's 15, I want to say, like 15, 16 years old. She hasn't sang since her mum died because it was hers and her mum's thing, and one day, just randomly, this old boy band from the 80s, however I have to point out that they do not look like they're from the 80s or 70s or whatever year it was whatsoever. They're just dressed like a 2020 boy, but we're gonna move past that because if you're 16 watching it, you're probably not gonna realise. And for some reason they've come back from the dead and Julie can see them, and they end up singing together, and that's all I'll say on that bit because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But that's where Julie and the Phantoms come from. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until about episode 3. I was like, oh, that's why it's called that. It's very cheesy, it's very light, even though it doesn't sound very light because it's about people that are dead. So if you do like a really cheesy thing, like the director directed High School Musical, so if you like a Disney Channel style thing, then definitely give it a watch. Now the next show I watched is pretty much the opposite of light and airy, and that is Grand Army. Again, this is something that you guys told me to watch over and over again, so I sat down, I gave it a watch, and I honestly thought it was so good. But I am just going to leave a little trigger warning here, because if you are going to watch it, please know that there are some really sensitive topics in there. I wish I knew, I wish it told me before I started watching it, because it didn't. But there is a lot of talk of things like sexual abuse. It is really heavy and it does show a lot, so if you are triggered by that in any way, do not watch it because it is a lot. But it covers a load of topics, from being gay, sexuality, sexual abuse, from family to friendships to working for your whole family because there isn't a parent to provide for you, so you have to provide themselves, and all that kind of stuff. Like it follows quite a few teenagers who are at the school Grand Army. It is really, really good, but it is a little bit of a more tougher watch. So you're not ready for that kind of stuff, you don't really want to, please don't watch it, but if you can, I 100% recommend it because it was really, really good, and when the second season comes out, I will definitely be watching it because I need to know what happens next. The next thing I watched is something that's been out for quite a while now, but I just never got around to watching it, but that TV show is The Act, and this was such a good watch again. I've watched some really good things this month. The Act is about Gypsy Rose Blancher, so this is a true crime, real true crime. I say real like this because obviously some things have been altered in certain ways to make a TV show, but for the most part the story and what actually happened in the crime is completely true. Like, that has all happened. It's so interesting. I didn't really know anything about it. I knew bits, but I didn't really know anything about it. But watching it and reading up on it afterwards was really, really interesting. So if you like true crime, this one's for you. So Gypsy Rose Blancher was a young girl who had every kind of sickness you can think of. Like, she had leukemia, she couldn't breathe properly, she had to have a feeding tube, she couldn't walk, she had to be in a wheelchair, like so many different things. I couldn't even list to you all the different things, but this isn't a spoiler because this is obviously a true crime thing. It turns out that her mum was completely faking it the whole time, as in she was making her kid pretend she was sick without her kid even knowing that she was pretending, if that makes any sense at all. And Joey King plays Gypsy Rose. She's honestly so good. I forgot it was her until like the last episode because she looked so different and she was just acting so different. So props to Joey King, she was great in that. You learn a lot while you're watching it. You also want to know more once you finished watching it. It's just a really, really good watch, and if you love true crime, then this one is 100% for you. And something that I've just started watching, and I've only got one episode left by the time you've seen this, I would have 100% finished it, is Criminal UK. I watched the first season whenever that came out. I've sat down and watched 3 of them today, and there's only one more episode, so I watched that very quickly. It's really, really interesting. Again, it's a little bit more true crimey, it's a lot more darker, if you will. Every single episode is a new crime, it's a new thing that you're watching in on. You know, in the, I can't even remember what the word is. You know, in those rooms where they interrogate, it's probably called an interrogation room. So they're in an interrogation room and we're watching these detectives, these police officers try and get out of different people what they've done wrong. So it changes from episode to episode. You don't need to exactly know what's going on in each episode because you can just watch any odd one, but the stories are really interesting and you get to see how they kind of play with people's minds to make sure they confess, or if they aren't the person that they say that they are for the reason they've been arrested, that they're not them, and they try and solve it out. And it's just really, really interesting. Again, true crime, you will absolutely love this. But one thing I absolutely love about the show is because every single episode is a different crime. It means a new actor can come in and play this person that they're interrogating, and they're always so good. There's Kit Harington in it, David Tennant's in it. There's quite a few different actors that you'll recognise, and it's great because you get to watch them play something different, something more serious. I mean, like, some people do play serious roles, but it's good to see them like really fully acting. Moving on to films that I've watched this month, the first one is a film that I had seen before, and that was Easy A. Now, if you don't know what Easy A is, it is your romantic comedy, perfect 2000s film for when you were a 16-year-old girl, and even now I still loved it. So Easy A is about this girl who is played by Emma Stone, who has said to her best friend that she lost her virginity when she didn't, and the rumour just went everywhere and everyone in school knew, and she tells this guy that she made it up, and he's like, hey, can you pretend that you slept with me so people don't think I'm gay, which is a little bit problematic. And now that we're a little bit older, she does that, and then a few people start to figure out that she's doing that, so they pay her in different ways to be able to pretend that they've slept with her. It's really, really good. Definitely give it a watch. The humour is great in it, and Emma Stone's in it. And so many actors. Oh my god, I was watching it like, oh my god, Stanley Tucci, and Phoebe from Friends, and Amanda from The Amanda Show, and there was just so many people that I was pointing out like, oh my goodness, it's them, it's them, it's them. The next film I watched was a little bit of a weird one, and I'm gonna feel incredibly uncomfortable talking about this, but we're going to because I watched it. Yes, God, Yes, which has Nancy from Stranger Things in it, and that's why I watched it, because I just saw her face and I was like, cool. She goes to a Catholic school and she's very religious, and you know, sex before marriage and all that is forbidden, and she's just kind of like a little bit of a rebel, and she doesn't want to wait. She's just kind of like discovering herself, but she feels guilty because obviously she's been told not to, and then by the end of it it's just kind of like, oh, but we all do it. Very, very sexual, so if your parents are in the house, don't let them walk in, because at any moment it could be very, very awkward. It was alright. I don't know, she does this weird thing with one of the boys' arm hairs, and that really put me off. I then watched What If. I watched a lot of romantic films just like in a day because I had nothing else to do and that's all I wanted to do. So What If has Daniel Radcliffe in it, and instantly I was like, I haven't really seen him in anything but Harry Potter, so I want to know what he's like in other things. It is a romantic film once again, where Daniel Radcliffe meets this girl who has a boyfriend, and they're chatting because they're friends and they get on really well, but he fancies her but pretends that he doesn't. But it is just your typical romance kind of film of, oh, will she leave her boyfriend for the guy, or will she keep her boyfriend? And I mean, it was fine. Again, not the best romantic comedy I've ever seen in my life, but it was there, it was fine. And then the final film I watched that day, I know I watched all those films in a day, was Rebecca. Now Rebecca has recently come out, and it was meant to be out in cinemas, but obviously cinemas closed, so it went on to Netflix, so I thought I'd give it a go, thinking it was just going to be a pure romantic film. I was very wrong. It was a romantic film, but it was also a little bit of a thriller, a little bit of a murder mystery kind of thing, which I really didn't expect it to be. The story was just a little bit too weird for me. I didn't understand what went on, and by the time it finished, it didn't feel like it finished. But it's about this girl falling in love with a guy whose wife had passed away, so he's still very much hung up on her, obviously, as you would do, but she's still someone that he falls in love with. His dead wife has some kind of complications in their relationship, and that's all I will say, otherwise I will spoil things for you. Not my favourite. I definitely wouldn't watch it again, I must say. I didn't really enjoy it all that much, which is a shame because I thought I would. It felt unfinished. That was the main thing that bothered me, is it felt unfinished. And the last film that I watched was Games Night. Me and my boyfriend watched it because we wanted to see this when it came out in cinema like 2 years ago, but we completely forgot about it. It's about this married couple who do a games night with their friends every single week, and his brother comes to town and it's like, I'm gonna host the best games night ever. So they go to his house and they do like a murder mystery party, and it turns out that the murder mystery party is hijacked by actual murderers, and it's just so funny. It's so stupid. I really, really enjoyed it. It's got loads of great actors in it. It was really easy to watch and a good watch as well. I'm surprised not more people have spoken about this film because it is actually a very, very good one, but definitely watch it. So yeah, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below what your favorite thing of the month was that you watched, and if you have any recommendations of TV shows to watch, please leave them down below. I'm running a bit low on things to watch at the moment because obviously, like I said at the start, things aren't coming out at the moment, which is a shame, but fingers crossed we'll be back up and running soon. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you did. I upload plenty of other videos on my channel all about TV and film, so make sure you go watch those as well. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I will see you again very soon.